Hi, welcome to episode 3 of Fight the Fupa with Lynn and Brenda. This week we are going to discuss our GLP-1 journeys and give you more information on GLP-1s, what they are, what they do, the benefits, all of the indications for the medications, and things we should do to keep it working at the optimal way. So I think I'll tell you first about what I think what I think is to me striking, or what made me want to do that, is for 20 years I've followed many people on all the different GLP-1s. So there's a big history of them where we were 2007, I believe, sitting in a room, and everyone in the room, at this company said, if you could inject something with something really small that would help you lose weight and bring your A1C down for diabetes, um, would you take it? And everyone put their hand up, and they're like, what if, it made you a little nauseated? And some people didn't know. And, but the first GLP-1 was derived from the saliva of a Gila monster. So of course, no one knew what it was or really what it did. But our own native GLP-1 is actually really in our small intestine. It's there. We all have it. It's there for when you eat to help you digest, to help you with your food and help you to digest. And it's sort of naturally occurring. It plays a role in sugar production. But last year, one of the newest forms of GLP-1, I know I said to Brenda, you've had a little bit of a hard time with your diabetes. Why don't you take it? Why don't you ask your doctor about it? And so I'm going to let you sort of give everyone your journey, your GLP-1 journey, because obviously I know through the last decade you've tried lots of different meds, and this one was really beneficial. So why don't you tell us about what you took?
Sure. So when I first was diagnosed with, or as a diabetic or with someone with diabetes, I'm going to get better at that, Lynn, I promise. I literally leaned on Lynn's knowledge because sometimes your physician isn't always super knowledgeable on all of the latest and all of the research. And so I literally tried. I've honestly, from the Victoza to the Jardians to the all the different things, and I'd be saying, Lynn, what about this? And she's like, well, this one makes you pee out sugar. Like, okay. And I would just keep trying all of these different meds, from the metformin to the you name it. I can't even remember all the different ones that I tried until we found that one that worked. And I had tried Ozempic about 5 years ago, and I think I was so frustrated. I tried so many different meds, and when it didn't work for me right away, I said, "Lynn, it's not working. It's not working. I'm not losing any weight. My A1C hasn't moved. I'm frustrated." And she said, "Well, there is a new one, Monjaro, and I don't know if it's in Canada yet, but you can ask." And so I went to my doctor, and I was really, literally, my doctor hadn't really heard of Monjaro, to be honest. And I'm like, well, you can get on the phone with my bestie Lynn and she'll explain it to you. And my doctor was really open and, really took the information that Lynn gave to me. And I said, listen, my girlfriend, I legitimately have to tell her what my sugars are in the morning. I have to tell her what my A1C is. She knows more about my diabetes than any human and that my doctor ever could. So I did get on the Manjaro, and Lynn can explain more what separates Manjaro from some of the other semaglutides, because my understanding is that it's a GLP-1 and 2 antagonist. Am I saying that correctly? No, I'm saying it wrong.
So a GLP-1 receptor agonist is the classification of drugs.
Okay.
Semaglutide is Ozempic and tirzepatide is Mounjaro. The difference being is all of the first generation ones had about 6 to 8% weight loss, and they weren't necessarily, they had a lot of side effects. As they became analog, meaning human-like, they worked much better. So Victoza was the first analog GLP-1, but you had to take it every single morning. So with the first once a week version was much better, Trulicity, and I don't know if you were on that one,
I wasn't.
but not as much weight loss as into 2017 when semaglutide or Ozempic came out. And that's why during the pandemic, when, a lot of people with diabetes couldn't get it is because all of a sudden a lot of people started to figure out, wow, this really works for anybody just for weight loss. So they made a version, Wegovy, also for people that just want to lose weight. Now, Monjaro is a little different because it's a GLP-1 and a GIP. So it's two gut hormones. It's
That's it.
and I know there's some new ones coming out that are in the pipeline that are in the trial phases called retatrutide. Reta. Oh, now I'm not going to say it right because I've been calling it Reta. Um, anyway, so Reta,
That one, yeah, Retta.
that one,
We'll just call it Retta.
because it's just not coming to my brain. But
It's okay.
that one is going to be three gut hormones. It'll also have glucagon. So it's already in some places, but it's shown 30% weight loss. So 15% generally for most people that are taking Ozempic or semaglutide, and 20% for Manjaro. Now, because you were trying to get it in Canada and because it was really growing in popularity here, last year, I think there was 4 or 5 months where you couldn't get it, but you were still losing weight. So that's what kind
Yes.
of made me think, okay, so it's more like the training wheels. You sort of got used to eating smaller amounts of food. You couldn't eat big meals. You couldn't eat fried food. You couldn't eat fatty foods. And you kept doing that when you were off it and you kept losing weight because you kept walking every morning. You were eating enough protein every day. So those are the things that, even with smaller dosing or eventually if you got to your goal weight, tapering off, going every other week. There is going to be many new ones coming out too. So, for the most part, here anyway, in the United States, you can get now semaglutide and tirzepatide from compounded pharmacies. But because there's no longer a shortage, it's going to be harder. But I know that there's many new ones also that will be coming out. So I
The
think
good thing about that, sorry to interrupt you. I know
what's
we
that?
always interrupt each other. The good thing about that is when there's more
Hmm. On
options,
the market,
the
yeah.
prices come down
And
because
I think
everyone's
eventually,
competing.
not only will the price come down,
Excuse me.
I know I hear online, when I post about GLP-1s, a lot of negativity that it's, cheating, that it's, what's going to happen to you after, you're ruining your gut, like all these things. So it is a gut hormone we make in the small intestine. It's already something we make naturally. Obviously, we're taking more of it. It does slow down and delay gastric emptying so that we feel full longer, which is also making our food not spike our insulin, which is making us burn more fat, which is making us feel better. It's getting rid of, that insulin resistance as you lose fat. So indirectly, you lose more fat because you feel full longer. It also does work on the hypothalamus in the brain to actually literally make you feel less hungry. So you're more satisfied. You don't have the food noise. You don't have the constant hunger. And overall, for me in the last 12 weeks, it's just been 12 weeks. I'm down 20 pounds. I've lost sort of the fupa, if you will, the fatty upper pubic area. But it doesn't target just there. Obviously, it targets all fat. But about 1.5 pounds at the most to maybe 2 pounds a week is what's recommended for anyone with a weight loss. Because if you lose a lot of weight really fast, you're going to lose a lot of muscle. So the other thing that that we hear that people critique is that it's oh, I've heard it's 30 or 40% muscle loss. So my journey was that I kind of worked on building muscle the last year, couldn't do it naturally, started the semaglutide. Your journey was losing fat. You've lost how many pounds in the last year? Like,
Well, I was 177 February, a year ago February. I was 177. I'm 147 now. At my
okay,
highest, I was
yeah,
210.
like
I was,
30 pounds, and that's just in a year. But the whole thing with that
but I
is you did
didn't
it
have the medicine for most of it.
right. And you also, it did change your entire lifestyle. All the things I've ever wanted you to do, you started doing. And
Well,
that's
I
really
was not a
it.
quick learner,
But it
you
was
guys.
it was the training wheels you needed. It was the switch you needed. And so again, I see this all the time with patients, with people that for me, I had a hysterectomy 6 years ago, and I think in the last 2 or 3 years, this one ovary they left in here is doing nothing. So I think I just gained and gained and gained. So there's different ways you can lose the fat like you did, and then you already have a lot of muscle, but you want to now start building muscle and working on that. And I did it the opposite way, which there's no right or wrong way, but I built the muscle a year, tried to lose the fat, nothing happened. I was eating pretty healthy and pretty much almost the same, but now I do definitely have less of an appetite and less snacks and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I definitely have more of a calorie deficit. I'm more energetic. I have less pain in my hips. I have less brain fog. I actually now don't feel tired all the time and cranky and irritable. I was at work the other day, and some of the coworkers are so used to me running to the kitchen and grabbing a snack. And around 2 or 3, getting like, I would have sort of a crash in my blood sugar. Like, I definitely must have had some insulin resistance. I felt like I had high insulin levels, and it was really hard to lose weight. So now I just, because the food's going in so slow, it's almost like I'm getting a little bit of food all day, and I'm like, oh, I don't feel that urge to, like, I gotta run. Because I was needing a snack all the time. So, again, it's been, to me anyway, and probably to you and millions of others, just really, not life saving, but life altering, where it's
Well, there's
definitely,
no question. There's
yeah.
no question because when I look back on this journey from when I got diagnosed as someone with diabetes, um, it was really scary. I was fully in denial. I was already super active, like so ridiculously active. The year I got diagnosed, I did I did hardcore sports every 3 months. So I played um, sponge hockey in the winter. Then I went straight into training for the marathon in February. I ran the half marathon. I went straight into rowing. I did 3 months of rowing, competed in a regatta, did 3 months of amateur boxing, competed in amateur boxing, did 3 months of women's tackle football. Like there was no patty cake
I
sports there.
remember.
And then I collapsed after sponge hockey and I got taken by ambulance and they told me half 2 days later that I was had diabetes. And I was pissed because I hadn't gone to the doctor for my checkups because I was feeling great. I was in my own category. I call it fat fit. Like I could outrun and I had a lot of cardio, but I was a heavy, heavy girl and I couldn't drop the weight. It didn't matter what I tried. I was always, always working out and being super active. I didn't know that I had a lazy pancreas and it took a lot of learning. And when I started trying some of the medicine that you were getting me to share with my doctor, I would start to see little small changes, but nothing that stuck. When I got on the Monjaro, it was a game changer for me.
Mhm.
I didn't experience nauseousness. I did experience constipation. And that was something I was not used to. If in fact I thought I had irritable bowel syndrome before because I would eat foods and instantly I'd have to go to the bathroom because my tummy didn't feel good. Not that I thought that I was going to um vomit. I thought that, oh yeah, this isn't going to be pretty. Like I feel like my tummy is just rumbling and I'm just not doing well. And I know other people that have diabetes that have tried the Monjaro and they said, oh, I was constantly living in the washroom and constantly nauseous. I didn't experience that. I didn't
So,
experience any
um,
kind of that sort of um, side effect.
a lot of people are afraid of the side effects, and there are many of them. But I think that the idea is that if you're working with your provider to really, really go up slowly, and if you have side effects, to go back down in dose. And there are meds for nausea, obviously. That was my biggest fear because you can give me pain all day. I don't care. But if I'm nauseated, I'm curled up in a fetal position. I don't feel good. I don't want to feel nauseated because I had that for so long with these sort of low waves of low sugar. So I have not had that. I've had the opposite effect. I've had no nausea. I've actually felt better. And instead of constipation, because I'm really aware of the fact that it does slow down and delay gastric emptying, that you can that I've kept up with putting Miralax in my coffee every other day, using some meg citrate, sometimes in my, like the powder in my shakes. So I'm actually doing a better job of making sure I stay hydrated. You really have to drink a lot of water. I'm making sure I walk my 7,500 to 10,000 steps a day. I'm making sure that I do my at least 3 to 4 days a week of resistance or strength conditioning. I'm
Me
making
too.
sure, and Brenda will be starting that. So I think anyone, if you think about someone that might have diabetes that I might have that's like 75 years old and they're like have never touched a weight and they're not active and they lose way too much, yes, that's dangerous because they can lose too much muscle mass. They can get osteoporosis. But if you're doing everything correctly, which I think again you should be doing all those things we just discussed with water and making sure you have enough fiber, fat, protein, and carb, eating small, very balanced meals, and making sure that if you do get some side effects that you talk to your provider or go down a little bit and not just keep going up and up and up. If your weight loss stalls and you're on, say, a certain dose, it doesn't mean go up in dose because, again, you could get side effects. It might mean that you have to adjust your macronutrients. It might mean that you just, you're going to have ebbs and flows. It also means that you could probably change up your routine, drink more water. So there's all of us, whether we're on a GLP-1 or not, we're going to hit the wall sometimes. So I think it's, or stall a little bit in our weight loss. So,
Oh, and that's just totally normal, though, right? Like
yes, exactly.
everybody, you can't be constantly on a
No.
trajectory of losing 1 to 2 pounds a week. That's just
You
not
can't have a calorie
realistic.
deficit forever either. So that's why we got to keep our calories up so we can still have a little bit of a deficit and keep revving up our metabolism. And that's why also weightlifting is important because if you're doing that, you're able to burn more with with the added lean muscle. So there's two or three new things that research has shown also that it has cardioprotective benefits. So it actually is an anti-inflammatory. It literally has been shown to reduce the risk of arteriosclerosis, which is plaque buildup, heart attacks, strokes, chronic inflammation. So we're seeing cardiologists use these now. And then I think you're going to see a lot of other indications. Like I heard someone the other day said for rheumatoid arthritis or anything there's an inflammatory effect that
Whether like a
it,
fibromyalgia and like
yes, or it could be something, yeah, autoimmune. Like again, it's going to help it does help with inflammation. And then I'm just going to look down at this new research on neuroprotective effects also. So it actually may protect the brain, and they're doing studies right now to see if it can help with Alzheimer's. So down the road, I don't think you're going to see this just for people with prediabetes, diabetes, people with obesity, people with, menopause, and there's going to be lots of different indications.
yeah.
Cardiac right now, it's also renal protective. It stimulates, your body to like I said, make your insulin's go your food's going in slower, so your insulin's working better. You're not spiking your sugar, and they're powerful. So what we also know is that people on GLP-1s tend to stay leaner, have better insulin sensitivity, and fewer cravings. And there's many pharmaceutical versions that will come out, but I'm just excited about where it's heading because if I've only seen in 12 weeks 20 pounds that I couldn't get rid of in the last 6 years, and I feel energetic and I have, like, again, I don't have the hip pain, the faint brain fog, all those things we discussed. You've lost the weight you've been wanting to lose for 10, 20, 30 years.
Three and a half
Um,
decades.
right.
35 years.
And
35
you're
years.
not, you're 4'10".
Uh-huh. In the 80s, I was five
So
three because I spiked my hair.
yeah, so I mean, it's really hard. I'm also shorter. I say 5'2", I'm probably more like 5'1". But the whole thing is when you're shorter, it's hard to get tall, lean looking when everything's going to go wide and outside. So I prefer, that we at least have, for the health benefit of being leaner, have a longer, more productive life where we can keep moving, keep stable, not have osteoporosis, not have all the things that can happen with obesity. And we're just going to be healthier in general. And again, I know we're going to get criticism of people saying, like, well, you don't know down the road what's going to happen. But these have been around 20 years. These are not new
But
medications.
a lot of people just have heard of it since the pandemic. So
Right.
when I
But
was on the
it's been
Manjaro
around for
for
20
yeah,
years.
when I was on the
And
Manjaro
when
and
it
when I
didn't
couldn't
work,
get it, sorry, go ahead.
sorry, I was just going to say, when it didn't work for you before, what was what do you think one of the main differences was of when you took it again and it worked? Is you told me I walked an hour. I've been walking an hour every morning. Like I've been walking my dog. I've had energy. I've wanted to. And maybe during the pandemic or when you had it before, I mean, we were inside, we were more
I was dealing with
stressed.
my
You
injury.
were
I was like,
there
it
was a
was
lot of
chaos.
things going on in your life. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it doesn't just, it doesn't just work for everyone. And if it doesn't work, you might need to try a different version. But when you do it properly, I can tell you that most people are thrilled. I see every single employee in our hospital also that are on any GLP-1s do come to see us just because it's sort of part of the program. And I've just seen people come in and not even recognize them. It's just they have a different aura about them. They're just confident, they're standing taller. It's really amazing. So again, if we can get it where it's indicated for many things and the price comes down, I think that's the biggest hurdle right now is insurance and pricing. But in the United States, if you are interested, I do have here a pretty great price. I think in the US, in Canada rather, if you do have diabetes, it's coming, it's getting there, but it's not there
apparently
yet.
it's coming. Yeah. So like for me, when the supply was low and I was finding success, it was slow success, but I was finding success. And then for 7 months, it wasn't available in Canada. And I was like, okay, well, it like you said, there's no magic pill, there's no magic shot. You still need to do the work.
Yes.
And those training wheels taught me eat slower, eat smaller, drink more water, walk. Still didn't
Increase
do the weights,
protein,
but
increase
I
your
increased the
protein.
protein and I did all those things. And during that 6 or 7 months when it wasn't available in Canada, I still lost
You were
weight
still losing.
consistently
Although I
every
can
week.
tell you, for the first 4 months, I do remember you saying,
Oh, I was so
Lynn, I see on Facebook everyone's losing 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. I've lost 4 pounds. What's that? I was like, be consistent. It'll happen. but,
I
but
was
I
so
thought it was going
desperate
to.
for it to work. I was like,
I
I'm
know.
so tired of being so heavy and so unhealthy. And for the entire, like, come on. How many times did I say, um, I've got the baby fat and the baby's 22. Okay? Like, come on now. So for Taya's entire life, I've been chasing healthy. Well, damn
I
if I'm
think,
not going to be a healthy grandma, okay? I'm going to be a grandma in 2 months. I am going to be a damn healthy grandma because I
and I think
couldn't
you are.
do it
You're the
for
healthiest I
35
think you've
years.
been in a long time. So,
There's
and
no question. There's no question.
you
I
are
feel the
walking the walk.
strongest.
You are talking the talk. I mean, you were here a month ago, and I watched you doing your coffee with your protein in the morning. I watched you eating your food. I watched you taking your 10,000 steps a day. In fact, where's all the places you've been all over the world? I think you in 1 year she walked over 3 million
3 million steps.
kilometers. What was it? How
3
many?
million, 3 million
Three.
steps.
Oh, okay. 3 million steps. Sorry, not kilometers, but 3 million steps.
Yeah.
And you're on the Jordan Trail now. You've been all over. And so you're motivated. And that's the whole thing is you're excited, you're motivated, and you want to share it with others. So she shared the
Yeah.
app with me and now I'm walking the Jordan Trail. But it's really again, I think going to be this is just the beginning. We're still in the infancy of GLP-1 receptor agonists. Um, Retatrutide. Ha! It came out.
You know what
um,
I was going to say, Lynn? I was going to say that when I couldn't get my Manjaro as a person with diabetes, I had other people are very judgmental and people are making all these comments. They're like, aren't you pissed at all the celebrities using Ozempic? I said, well, first of all, I'm not on Ozempic. It didn't work for me. I said, I'm on a medicine called Manjaro and it's the one that's been helping me with my A1C. But aren't you pissed that they're all using it for weight loss? And I'm like, actually, as a former obese person, No, because do you know how many thousands of dollars, hours, time, energy, Nutrisystem, coffee, shakes, drops, Weight
We've
Watchers.
done everything.
I have literally done everything on this quest to find healthy. If I knew about GLP-1s 20 years ago, I'd probably be retired on a beach in Bora Bora. Okay? Because the money that I have spent on chasing healthy. This medicine has helped me as a person with diabetes bring down my A1C that I'm in a normal range for the first time in 10 years. Consistently. That's all I care about. Because when I had the neuropathy, I could feel that tingling in my fingers. I'm like, oh my gosh, if I don't get my diabetes in order, I'm going to tell you the the willpower to say no to the donuts, say no to the sugar, say no to the dessert, upset the grandparents, upset the mother, feed, feed, feed. Everybody wants to feed you. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. It's
Willpower
because
doesn't always work, though. We need a strategy sometimes.
100% it doesn't work. It's super
And
fun.
when your hormones, with our age, Gen Xers, our hormones, sometimes, I tried everything too. And so we've just been fortunate to find, for you, the A1C came way down. I mean, it was
Oh,
quite high for a while. And
it's in the 20s, Lynn.
I was quite concerned about your numbers were in the 20s, but your A1C was quite high, 12 or something like that. And I think, to keep healthy, you got to get your A, B, and C down. So, and this helps with A1C, blood pressure, and cholesterol.
Yeah,
So again, now you're on something that's really actually you're chasing healthy, and this is what it is used for. So,
yeah.
um, so I think overall, there's other nuances that we can discuss moving forward, about the food. We can talk about what we eat, how to, manage side effects, whatnot. But I hope this gives everyone an idea of just sort of the basic, the idea that this is something really, really useful for many, we have, I think I read somewhere, that for all the morbidly obese people, we would need one doctor for every 33,000 people in the United States. And so there's not a lot of doctors that that are obesity specialists, but most doctors now are okay or are learning about GLP-1s that they can prescribe, in the basic way, at least either tirzepatide or semaglutide. And again, I think overall, you don't need a specialist, but in Canada, the biggest thing is we just need it to get, you know, to a point where it's less expensive because it's a little bit costly right now. But I did find one compounding pharmacy. So if somebody doesn't have diabetes, I think you still can get it there. I don't know for how long, but again, hopefully this basic information today helps everyone sort of know sort of the gist of why we decided to do a podcast called Fight the Fupa, because we just feel like we're chasing healthy
Still
and we
fighting.
want to share it.
I'm still fighting my muffin top, but I saw Lynn's and it's gone. So I'm so happy. I'm still fighting mine. I still have my little fupa. But
But it's a little fupa.
I'm just so happy that, when you do lose weight and when you do feel like a better version of yourself, it is a confidence booster. There's no question. When I saw those photos of us in 2018, the last time that we came to visit you, and all four of us looked like a heavier version of us now. And like I've been on a GLP-1 for 1 year. Yeah, 1 year. And Randy is just working and just not, he's actually up and walking and doing stuff. Um, we're just living healthier lifestyles. And that in turn lengthens your life. I was going to say elongates your, no, lengthens your life because we want to have that functional strength where we can be those strong, active grandparents.
You want to be able to crawl around with your grandkids and jump and play and
100%.
move and not just be sitting in the chair. And so, again, I don't think Miss Brenda Glamma is going to be, rocking in her chair anytime soon. So,
No,
she'll
not
be
like
she'll be walking all over the world with her app. So, well, I hope this helped everybody, but we will see you next week for episode 4.
Bye, everyone. Have a
Bye,
great week.
everyone.
Do your weightlifting.
Yes.
I'm going to, I promise.